different, so I've come prepared. I'm here this morning to tell you all about the importance of advocating for your community and advocating for yourself. In my instance, I can tell you that books open doors to a world of ingenuity, creativity, and resourcefulness. Stories are an integral part of our lives. They talk about our history, our mythology, our beliefs, our aspirations, and possibilities of our future. Books can become your best friend, loyal supporter, and key counsel for life. I can tell you about the neurological, educational, or psychological benefits, how reading promotes maturity and discipline, sparks curiosity about people, places, and the things around them. And if you are still not convinced, then maybe I need to tell you that reading has proven to improve memory, enhance empathetic skills, and keep away brain degenerative disorders. Reading has been linked to longer lifespans as it is a stress-reducing activity. But instead of telling you all those boring facts, let me tell you this. When I was 7 years old, back in my day, there were no phones, there were no cars, there was no internet. I mean, we used to climb trees for fun. Okay, I'm joking, guys. Do I look that old? No, exactly. I'm 16 years old, and I started my writing journey when I was 7 years old. Little me had quite the character. To be honest, I'm a little bit scared of her. She was a bully. I used to read around 50 books a year. Now I'm down to around 3, 2 of which is schoolwork. Little me would make books about my friends on exam pad paper and give them out as gifts, so I'm sure that my parents could see what would follow. In 2014, my mother graduated from university with her master's degree in communications. I was 7 years old at the time. I had no idea that when you graduate with your master's, you have to write something called a thesis, which is essentially like this really big book filled with boring things. So when my mother had graduated and I saw this book, I kind of came to the conclusion that, okay, my mother had gone out into the world and she had written this book without telling me. And the little lion that I was, I decided I was going to get my revenge. And I started writing my own book without telling her. Many people expect this story to be warming and heartfelt, but at the core, it's just, I was vengeful of my mother, and so that's what led to me writing my first book. Fast forward to February 2015, on a school morning. Once I'd finished writing, I burst into my mother's bedroom, and with a straight face, I said, "Mom, I've finished writing my book." "Good for you," she replied, obviously tired. "Your computer teacher will be very proud." A lot of talking happened then, but my mother had bribed me with brunch and sent me on my way. That was probably my favorite part of the beginning. After that, life was moving very fast. Before the book was even launched, I gave my first public talk to 1,200 matric learners at a career expo. I was 8 years old. Then the launch of my first book, Smelly Cats. And no, it's not the song from Friends, to all the old people wondering. What's strange is that I'm way more of a dog person than a cat person. It makes me wonder why I wrote about cats. Who here is a cat person? Anyone? Okay, well, you're all wrong. I'm sorry. Dogs are better. They just are. Right. Soon after I launched this book, the interviews, the awards, and the commitment began. I received my first award for the Best Early Childhood Development Publication of the year 2016. Attending those awards gave me the chance to visit Cape Town for the first time. But when I tell you that I was shocked to be the only child at that event of hundreds of people, no other children were around but myself. It felt weird and oddly intimidating, but this is a feeling that I would soon get used to. Nonetheless, I enjoyed myself with my mother by my side. What I love and appreciate about events like this is being able to see other young people, other youth who are getting together to share their joys of their achievements and to share what they have been working so hard on. This is a platform for you to connect with one another and for the very lonely parents to make new friends. I do know that adulthood is lonely. Trust me, I know. I'm one who takes a lot of pride in my work, appreciating the hours spent on thinking and writing. But sometimes I can't help but judge myself. And I know that those who model, there's a lot of judgment when you enter those spaces. The fear of not being good enough, the fear of being inferior. I often say to myself, I could have written better stories with better characters, or that my work isn't that impressive. The typical self-doubt, am I right? But when I become conscious again, I remind myself using this quote: your thoughts shape your vision. You see what you choose to see. How I manage to wiggle through these tough times is by accepting, allowing, and advancing. 3 A's. Accepting what you can't change and change what you can. Allowing things to remain without negative interference. And advancing, which is simply moving on. That's just something that helps me. Although I would like you to try and use the 3 A's, and I would like you to keep in mind that everyone seeks help in different ways. An example is when one of my characters in my second book, Bob and the Snake, failed to use this method and instead chose an extreme way to solve his problems. I told you about the book on cats, and I've just mentioned the book with snakes. After my second book, 3 more would be published, actually 4. They are Smelly Cats on Vacation, Tim's Answer, Where is Tammy, and my most recent book, which has made me a novelist, titled Middleburg East. Now, let's explore a different side of me, Stacey Fru as an activist and philanthropist. I started my philanthropist journey with big goals and aspirations. My idea was to set up a reading center, buy a bus, and drive around the country taking old people alongside young people to teach them how to read and write. I'm not sure where the 9-year-old me hoped to get the money from, but due to hard and financially incapable thoughts, my parents suggested that we should start small and expand from there. That is when they set up the foundation. Alongside its philanthropy, the Stacey Fru Foundation advocates for literacy and safety and security. I believe that literacy is one of the most important tools that anyone can have in this day and age. Just imagine if you were unable to read the prescription on a bottle of medication, if you were unable to communicate with your loved ones, or anyone for that matter. I also believe that children cannot empower themselves in a space where they do not feel safe and secure. This targets children mainly in disadvantaged schools where they don't have the proper infrastructure to learn, the proper security to learn, and even something as simple as toilets, hygiene, sanitation issues that inhibits learning. Other projects by the foundation include the African Children of the Year Awards, the Safety and Security Campaign, and things like the African Book a Child campaign. As an activist and philanthropist, my core focus is to eliminate illiteracy and to create a safe environment for children. While working hard to change the world, I still do teenage things. I have TikTok. Yes, I scroll on TikTok and occasionally make a few posts myself. I have WhatsApp, where I love to call my friends and annoy my parents on the family group. I juggle all these things and still manage to submit my homework most nights. I'm currently in grade 11 at Sacred Heart College, And the most valuable lesson I've learned is that I should have stayed in grade 9. I'm someone who takes academics quite seriously, and I become quite competitive at times. I love studying, I love interacting with my teachers, and I love connecting purpose to what I do in school. As mentioned before, I'm currently the junior MMC elected for community development in the Johannesburg Metro Municipality for the years 2022 and 2023. I hope to one day grow up, challenge myself in university, and become the coolest mom this world has ever seen. I hope to continue to make a difference and inspire more kids to do the same. I hope that when I leave here, you won't forget about me, even though you might. I hope you won't. So if there's one thing that the young children, even those watching videos on their phone, can take away from my presentation, is that literacy is a useful tool to have, but it depends on how you use that tool. Don't aim to be like me, aim to be better than me. My job is not to give a voice to the voiceless. My job is to help the voiceless find their voice. And if there's one thing that the adults can take away from my presentation, it is that you now have the burden to empower the children around you, the burden to empower and support as my teachers and as my parents continue to do to me as I advance in my journey. I would like to thank Ma'am Brenda for creating an opportunity for me to speak to you all today. And just know that you all are the most important addition to my work, because without you, I would not have been able to share my story. The world is waiting for you. Thank you.